welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at what is meant to be an approachable puzzle by Eric Rathbun called Old-Fashioned TV Antenna, which I guess is something to do with this shape in the middle of the grid. I suppose, do I think that looks like, maybe it's not an English style TV antenna, maybe it was a TV antenna from across the waters, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is really meant to be approachable, so if you're very new to variant Sudoku, it might be a good puzzle to cut your teeth on. Now, before we kick off, a couple of things to mention first. I've got a birthday to talk about first. Let's do that. So, very happy birthday to DJ today. I believe it's your 19th birthday, and your friend Leela wrote us a lovely email which said that, unbelievably to us anyway, you are trying to make it through all of our back catalogue, having come to Cracking the Cryptic relatively recently. That is going to take you some time, my friend, but I wish you all the best with that, and I hope, of course, that you've had a great day today with an absolutely stupendous amount of cake. Other than that, Domino Sudoku is out. If you haven't tried it, you must try it. We've been working on this app for, I think, over a year. It's got puzzles by Fistamafel, it's got puzzles by Clover and Sam Kappelman-Lyons and Codec and people like this. It is absolutely wonderful, and you can find it in the usual places, so do check it out. And apart from that, do I have anything else to tell you? The solution videos for Joseph Nehme's Sudoku hunt over on Patreon, they are out, so you should be able to access those right now. Lots of videos, 13 in all, and yeah, so I know that there were a couple of puzzles in particular that people did struggle with in the set, and you can now see how Mark and I went about solving those puzzles too. So check that out. Other than that, I don't think I've got any other news, so why don't we have a look at Eric's puzzles, Eric's puzzle indeed, and I will read you the rules. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. So we've only got 2 cages today, and we don't need a rule about digits not repeating in cages because normal Sudoku rules takes care of that. We obviously can't repeat a digit in that 18 cage. We'll break the rules of normal Sudoku if we do. Now, digits along an arrow sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So we've actually only got 1 circle in the puzzle. So this circle is accounting for 8 different arrows. So, well, let's look at this one. What we know is that these 3 digits there, whatever we put, in fact, you can make all of these different. I've just noticed you could put 3 1s on that and make that a 3, although that will be problematic when it comes to the next arrow because you're not going to be able to make this arrow add up to 3 if you do that. But that's how arrows work anyway. And then, clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal. So those 4 digits sum to 11, those 4 digits sum to 25, and digits can repeat along such a diagonal if allowed by other rules. So just as we could repeat digits along the arrow, we could do, I don't know, I'm going to get the maths wrong on this, 6, 6, 6. So that adds up to 18, and then we could make that a 7, and that would work. So that's a potential way of filling this 25 diagonal. It would be quite amusing to me. Well, no, it's not going to be right, is it? I've just realised I put 2 6s in box 9, so don't do that. It's not right. Let's change that slightly. 6, just so I feel like I'm not being a complete numpty. That might work, and that would be quite funny if that turned out to be true. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play, as usual, is to click the link under the video. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I'm presuming I've got to start with the enormous TV aerial in the middle of the grid. I mean, there is, I think, something to say perhaps about this 30 diagonal as well. But the fact that I suppose we can't put 9s. Hang on, there may be more to say about this diagonal. I suddenly realised I can't put 9 on an arrow. Because if I put 9 there, then this will have to be at least a 10. And I can't put 10 into a Sudoku. So the maximum those cells could be, in fact, the maximum those cells could be is perhaps, I was actually going to say the maximum they could be was 8 and 7, but that doesn't work either. I can't put 8 on there because I'm adding 2 digits to 8 and I'm going to reach a double-digit number. So 7, 6, I think, is the maximum we could put on there. That would be 13. So these cells actually have to be whopping, they have to be very large, because if these have a maximum value of, sorry, if these have a maximum value of 13, then these have to be 8 and 9 at least, because these have to add up to 17 at least. So these are either double 9 or an 8-9 pair straight away, which is quite interesting. Right, let's turn our attention to this network of arrowness and see what we can say about this. So it feels like we've got to do some sort of division of this that's going to make some sort of sense. So I can see that, yeah, okay, let's try this. So those 4 arrow cells, look, are all in the same column. So those cells have all got to be different digits. Now the same must be true by symmetry for those cells. Yeah, this is an interesting pattern actually, because now let's flip that round and look at these cells. Those cells of all, oh, that's a terrible color choice, sorry. That should be better. Yeah, we can see the arrows. So these 4 digits all have to be different. And then I'm going to do the same thing in row 7. So those all have to be different. And then I'm going to do the same thing in box 5. So those have to, oh, it's another terrible choice of colour. I want something that shows the line. Yeah, there we go. You can see the grey line against the backdrop of grey, which is quite strange. But, so now we can say that the minimum values that we can put on the arrows is going to be, we could do 1, 2, 3, 4 along this red row, another 1, 2, 3, 4 along this row, so that's 20. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 in this blue column, that's another 10 plus another 10 here, so that's another 20. Now we could put 1, 2, 3, 4 onto these arrows, but they have to be double counted, don't they? Because each one of these little stems appears on 2 arrows. So if we're going to try and work out what the minimum value of all the arrows adds up to, when we count this arrow, we're going to add that digit to that digit to that digit. And when we count this arrow, we're going to add that digit to that digit to that digit. So this adds up twice. So now we're up to 60, I want to say, because we've got 20 in red, 20 in blue, and 2 lots of 10 in grey. So 60 is the minimum value of 8 arrow cells. So that means this is at least a 7, doesn't it? Because, and I get that because I'm dividing 60 by 8, and I know that 7 eighths are 56. So we must be, oh, in fact, if we know 7 eighths are 56, and I have to go beyond 7, so that has to be 8 or 9, doesn't it? Because if I tried to keep this down to 7, I would need to add the 8 arrows up to 56, which I've just shown is impossible. So actually we can get rid of the 7 here as well. So this is at least 8. Now it's going to be 9. I'm in no doubt it's going to be 9. But it would be nice to be able to demonstrate that, wouldn't it? So we're up to 60. Okay, but 60 is on the presumption that those 2 squares are a maximum of 3 and 4, because I was only counting putting 1, 2, 3, 4 into each of the various cells. Now this can't be a 3, 4 pair, because if these were a 3, 4 pair, this diagonal, these 2 cells would have to add up to 23, and that's silly. So in fact, what did we say the minimum of those was? No, we said the maximum of these. Oh, hang on, let's do this the other way around then. If we double 9 these 2 cells, then these have to be, these cannot be less than 12, can they? Because 2 9s are 18 and we need 30 on the diagonal. So this adds up to at least 12, which is a lot greater than a 4 and a 3. So now we can increase our minimum for the coloured cells. We said it was 60. but these have to add up to at least 12. So we've lost 5 more degrees of freedom, because I was thinking they could add up to a maximum of 7 before, with a 3 and a 4. So now we're at 65. And 65 by 8 is more than 8. So this is 9. There we go. This is 9. That's what we're heading towards, 9. And in fact, our coloured cells therefore add up to 72, bearing in mind that we're counting these twice. Because the minimum I could make the coloured cells is 65, and 65 is beyond 8. So the way to think about that is if I put 8 in here, then I need the coloured cells to be able to add up to 64, and we've now proved that's impossible. So actually, do I now have more of a restriction? No, I probably have less of a restriction. Yeah, I have less of a restriction, don't I? Because I did this on the basis that, yeah, that 65 was the minimum, but I could go as high as 72 now. These are at least 12. No, yeah, they're at least 12. They could be more than 12. Right, hang on. I could have... Oh, no, I think I could have done a lot better with this diagonal earlier. Right, let's come back to this diagonal and think about it again. Because I know now that these two cells have to add up to at least 12. Now, they can't be double 6. That's impossible, because I would repeat the 6 in box 3. So how are we going to make these two cells add up to at least 12? And the reason I ask that is that actually I can't put very big digits into these. I can't put 9 in here because it's on an arrow. And we worked out before I can't put 8 on there because it's on an arrow, and this would be a 10. So this cell cannot be more than 7. And yet these two digits together have to add up to at least 12. So yeah, so one of them has to be a 7, doesn't it? If I can't put 8 or 9 on the arrow, and I need to get to 12 and I can't use double 6, one of them is a 7. So the other one I've got to get to at least 12 is a 5 or a 6. But the 7, whether that's here or here, that's going to have... Oh, yeah, okay, I've done it. It's really, really clever, this. So we've now worked out one of these is a 7. Well, 7 is going to have... Let's just imagine it's this one. We don't know which one it is. But that's going to have double 1 on its arrow in order to get to 9. We can't put anything other than double 1 into these two cells. But these two cells see that one and they see that one. In fact, that one does the job itself. So we can't put 1 into either of those cells. And that means they're a minimum of double 2. Which means this cannot be 6, because then we'd had 6 plus double 2 equals 10. So we actually now know what's going on. This must be double 2, and this must be 5. So what we've got here now is we've got to get rid of some of this. This is a 5-7 pair, which means these have a maximum value of 12, which means this is double 9, which means, and all of these come out to get replaced with 1, 2 pairs. Wow, okay, so what does that mean? So that's very interesting now, surely for this 25 diagonal, where I can't put 9 into either of the extremities. So the maximum value of those is now double 8, which means these cells have to add up to at least 9, because we've got 16 as a maximum into those cells, so these are adding up to at least 9. Alright, let me just think about that for a second or two. If these are at least 9, let's just write 9 in the corner of this cell. So that's catering for both of these. That cell is at least 3, because it can't be a 1 or a 2. That cell is at least 3, because it can't be a 1 or a 2. So I'm already now, those 4 cells are at least 15, and I've still got 2 more cells to add in. 16, and we're heading up towards 18, aren't we? These 2 arrows together add up to 18 because it's 2 lots of 9. So we're at 9, 15. These cannot add up to less than, to more than 3. So this has to be a 1 or a 2. Okay. I think this does actually have to be a 1-2 pair, I want to say, because if it's not, if that's double 1, surely I'm breaking the ability of either of these arrows to have a 7 on it. So I think this is a 1-2 pair, which makes me want to put 6 into here. That feels right, doesn't it? So if this was double 1, how could either of these arrows have double 1 on its arrow? That would be... Oh no, maybe... No, like we can't do it, because that couldn't be a 1 then. Yeah, so that is right. So this is a 1-2 pair, and that's a 6 to add up to 9. But hang on. This is a very clever little puzzle, actually. It's really interesting, because now we know that these 2 squares have to add up to at least 9, don't we? Because we can't make those 2 add up to more than 16. But how could I make this more than 3? I can't, because if I make this more than 3, if I make that 4, then these 2 squares we know are at least 3 in both cases. That sees a 1-2 pair. This sees a 1-2 pair. So this arrow would add up to 10. So that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 3. And this is double 8. Good grief. Ah, there's no 8 in the 13 cage now. There's no 9 in the 13 cage either. Because if you put 9 in the 13 cage, it would have to be 9, 1, 3. And there's a 3 in here. So there's no 6 in it. Oh, this is very clever. Right, so this has got a 7 in it, because if it doesn't have a 7 in it, its maximum composition would be 5, 4, 2, and 5, 4, and 2 only adds up to 11. So this is 7 plus either 1, 5 or 2, 4. Which I'm sure is in some way important. Okay, well let's check this 27 now, which now cannot have 8 in its flanks. So, but what we could obviously do is double 9 the flanks, couldn't we? So we could double 9 the flanks, and if we do double 9 the flanks, we've got 18 here. So these 2 cells add up to at least 9. So we've got 9 here. Oh, this is forced. I love this. This is really, really clever. So basically what we do is we work our way around the aerial, because, right, we've now worked out these are at least adding up to 9. So let's put 9 in a little corner here. Now, what is the minimum value of those 2 squares? Well, it would be a 3, and we could put a 4 here. So 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. And yet we know these 2 arrows here have to add up to 18. So the only way this works is if we double 1 these 2 squares, we make this a 4, and these do add up to 9. And therefore we need these to be double 9, because if we make these any lower, these have to add up to more than 9, and that's going to put a 10 in the middle box again. So now, in fact, now we can just fill this in. 4 plus 1 plus 4 is 9. 3 plus 1 plus 5 is 9. And now these do add up to 9. And it seems like the world is in order. So 4 looks like it's now been restricted in this box. 4, 4, there's a 4 in one of those 2 squares. I bet you can't put 4 on this arrow. I would make this cell a 1. Okay, maybe you can. I'm not sure. But 4 now has to go here by sudoku. And okay, alright, so now we've got to do more thinking again. How should we do this thinking? Can we use the 11 now? The thing is, 11 is so out of proportion compared to the 30, 25, 27. It seems to basically be saying we've got to put tiny little numbers along here. What's restricted? Let's have a... yeah, okay, this digit is a bit restricted because it sees a 1-2 pair. So in fact, this has to be a 3 or a 4, doesn't it? Because it can't be 1 or 2. It can't be 5, because if it's 5, we've got 4 plus 5, and then we'd have to put 0 in here. So this square's 1 or 2. That gives us a 1-2 pair in the row, which means this square is at either 3 or 5, or possibly 6. If it was possibly 6, maybe, yeah. If that's 6, and this is 2, that could be a 1, and that would add up to 9. That's surprising. Okay. So how do we work this out then? Okay, yeah, it's going to be this 11 diagonal. I've just realised this cell has to be at least 3. And this cell is at least 2. So that's 5. So these have a maximum value of 6. Actually, okay. I think there are some degrees of freedom still, which I'm really surprised about. But I think there are. So maybe I've got to be a bit more circumspect about this. If this is 3 and this is 1, this is 5, which is impossible. So this is lower than 5. It's either 4, 3, or 2. Now, can we do better than that? I'm sure we can. Just have to work out how. Oh, I've just noticed Sudoku's helping me here. Look, this 1 is looking at that cell. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1, that's 2. So this is 1, so this is 4. Ah, here we go again. Now we're off and running again. I've almost finished my antenna. Oh, look. Okay. So these two squares now have to add up to 7. It's as simple as that, is it? How do we make that work? Well, this can't be 6 anymore. And if it's 3, this needs to be 4, which doesn't work. So it's 4. So this is 5, this is 2. Now I've got 3 into those squares, so these have to add up to 8. And they can't be double 4, look, because of this 4. So I can't make this 4. Oh, I can't make that 4 because of Sudoku as well. These add up to 8. They're not the same digit. So what have we got going on? It's not 1, 7. We can't put 1 into either of these. Could it be, so it's either 2, 6 or 3, 5. Can't see immediately why 2, 6 is impossible. Oh yes, I can. Look, 2 looks at that cell. Ah, that's important then. Because you can't put 2 on either side of this, this is 3, 5, and there's a 5 here, so this is done. We go 3 here, 5 here. So now 5 here in the middle box is forced. And Sudoku gives us an 8 here. Now we're actually cooking with gas here. 1, 2, 3, 5. We need 6 and 7 into those. Oh, we don't know what that is. So this is a 6, 7 pair. There's no 9 in my 18 cage. And there's no 1 and there's no 2. Can we do any better than that? Maybe not. 5 is here. More Sudoku. Let's do Sudoku. There's no 7 here. So there's a 7. Ah, so there's a 7 here. It doesn't get me my 6, 7 pair resolved. Probably. 7 in one of these two cells. These are 3, 5, 6. We can do the 6. We can do the 5. We can do the 3. So this box is now done. Still can't do the 6 and the 7 though, but we now know these digits are 2, 3 and 8. which we might be able to do something with. That's not 2. So this is a 6-7 pair. Five in this box is interesting. It's got to go in that cell, which means these add up to 13, and they're not 4, 9, and they're not 5, 8. So this is a 6-7 pair. Oh, so this is a 6-7 pair by Sudoku. And now we've got a 6 here. So this is 7. This is 6. That feels like that might matter, doesn't it? So in this column we need 3, 8, and 9. The 9 can be placed using this 9. The 3 can be placed. The 8 can be placed. Wow. So now we're looking at a 3, 4 pair there, which is done. That's 4, that's 3. Now we're looking at a 3 over here, which has to go here. Now I bet this row's done. We need 6 and 8. No. Okay, no, that row's not done. Naughty row. Okay, so this cell is not 3 anymore. So this column needs 2, 8, and... okay, yeah. Look at this column. If we look at those 6 cells, the remaining digits in the column are 2, 8, and 9. So that has to be 2 because of this 9, 8 pair, which makes that 8, which makes this 2, and it makes this 9. And now 9 goes here by Sudoku. So this column now needs 6s. What is it? 4 6s and 8s. Oh, okay. 4s, 6s and 8s into those squares. So lots of even digits. That's not 8. And that's not 8 either. So the 8 goes here. This is now a 6. This 6 is telling us that's a 4. So that's a 6. So now we know that this has not got 2, 4 in it. So this has got to be 1, 5, 7. And that means that's a 1 by Sudoku. This is a 5, 7 pair. We've done this as well. That's 5, that's 7. That's 7 by Sudoku. We need to put a 2 into one of those, which I don't think is done. Okay, let's do it using the 8 then. So that's all fixed. What about this row now? 5 and 8. That's got to be 8. So that's got to be 5. So now these are 2, 4, and 6. So that's 4. And this is 2, and that's 6, and that finally disambiguates the middle. 6, 7, 7, 6, 6, 7 here using this 6. We need 1s, 2s, and 4s over there. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 4. This is 1 and 9. This is all flowing. Very, very cute. 4, 7, 8. That's 4. That's 8, and that's 7. We've just got a couple more digits to place, 1 and 3. That's beautiful. What a beautiful little puzzle. Loved it. Really, really loved it. It's not, it isn't complicated today, but you have to think quite hard about how these big totals interact with the arrows. It's not too difficult to show that central digit is a 9. But I really liked the way you sort of had to keep working. And once we worked out that how this section of digits worked, we could then hone in on these digits and then do the same here before finally finishing off with the 11 diagonal. Beautiful puzzle, Eric. Really, really cool. I think this is going to get a lot of love in the chat, which I will enjoy reading. So do drop a comment in if you enjoyed the puzzle. I do enjoy reading the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.